monthly provider call with the Office of Public Defense Services. As you all know, I'm Steve Singer, the Executive Director, and we really appreciate everyone taking their time out of their busy schedules to join us on our monthly provider calls, get information, ask us questions. Just so everyone knows, the meeting is recorded. So by being in the meeting and talking in the meeting, you're agreeing to have your likeness and your voice recorded for purposes of the record. Couple of important announcements I want to make. First of all, as you all know, it's been a very busy time at the Public Defense Service Commission and Office of Public Defense Services. We've had tomorrow will be the third in the series of three meetings to address the unrepresented client issue. If you were not able to make the prior two interim meetings of the PDSC since the last regular meeting on June 23rd in Bend, recordings of those meetings are available on our website. Couple of quick, and we do have our third meeting tomorrow, which will be from 10 to 2, physically here in Salem, and also you're welcome to participate virtually, where we will also be discussing the unrepresented client problem. Couple of quick announcements. I'm really pleased to announce that the Chief Justice on July 18th appointed Mr. Max Williams as the 9th Commissioner to the Public Defense Services Commission. Mr. Williams most recently is the outgoing President and CEO of Oregon Community Foundation, whose mission it is to improve the lives of all Oregonians through the power of philanthropy. Prior to being President and CEO of Oregon Community Foundation, Mr. Williams was the Director of the Oregon Department of Corrections from 2004 to 2011. So many of you may know of him through that. From 1999 through 2003, he represented Tigard in the surrounding area in the Oregon legislature. He served as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee for 2 terms. So he's got a wealth of knowledge from the legislative angle about issues that affect public defense. And he was also a member of the Revenue Committee. Mr. Williams earned his Bachelor of Science in Information Management from Brigham Young and his JD from Lewis and Clark. So hopefully his Bachelor of Science in Information Management. As you all know, we are desperately trying to improve our technology at OPDS, and we are hoping that he will be able to add his knowledge and experience and background. Mr. Williams has also been a consistent advocate for the protection of the rights of the accused, both as a foundation of the justice system and for policies and budgets across the system to assure protections. When he was both in the legislature and at DOC, he was a big proponent of moving the system toward better outcomes for public safety and better sentencing policies, rehabilitation services, and evidence-based programming for stronger reentry policies. So we're really honored to have Mr. Williams as our newest member of the Public Defense Service Commission. I think we all believe he will be a real asset to the commission. Couple of other internal announcements about internal folks joining the Office of Public Defense Services. Daniel Silverman joined us on July 18th as a deputy defender in the appellate division. Prior to that, Daniel was an associate attorney at the Salem law firm of Furter and Casbier. Prior to that, he served as Justice Duncan's law clerk on the Oregon Supreme Court for 2 years. During law school, Daniel was also a certified law student at MPD. So he comes with an excellent appellate background as well as a public defense background. Morgan from Fitzgerald joined OPDS on July 11th as an operations and policy analyst, and her primary area is the very new guardianship and conservatorship program, getting that program up and running smoothly in a couple of counties that it is in, and hopefully preparing it to expand in future years. In addition, Harry Noon joined OPDS on July 18th as an operations and policy analyst too. Harry holds degrees in political science from Southern Oregon University and a master's in public policy from Oregon State University, and brings service experience with the AmeriCorps program in California. With those announcements, I'm going to turn it over to Ralph Almador from Budget and Finance to give the billing updates. Ralph, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Ralph Almador with OPDS Budget and Finance. I'll start with our billing update. I'll start with my normal statement. OPDS understands that historically payments have been much shorter. The longer times are a result of processes added to actually ensure payments are correct and valid. This is compliance with legislative direction and best practices. The payment processing time has necessarily lengthened. We do not anticipate a time when the stuff will get to immediate payment of resource invoices, but our goal is a 30-day processing. In the agenda that was sent out, we had said we were at 35 days. I was pleased to meet with staff earlier this morning, and they said currently our days are at 31 days processing time, and hopefully we'll be at 30 days tomorrow. That's primarily due to the hard work of staff that has worked tirelessly. They've worked weekends and some holidays to really buckle down and get things done so people can get paid in a timely manner. And we're really close to getting our 30-day goal. So I want to thank them formally and just say fantastic job by everybody doing that. It was brought to my attention that some folks may not understand what our processing time means. Processing time means that it's when it leaves our building. We don't currently require everybody to have direct deposit. So we complete our process here and it goes to DAS for payment at that point. And when it goes to DAS, it could be immediate if you have direct deposit, with immediate meaning a day, or it could be a couple days if you have direct mail to do that at that point. So as always, normal invoice inquiries outside the submission process should go to accounts payable, opds.state.or.us. Make sure you include the assigned invoice number and/or case number or CSS number in the subject line. If you're experiencing billing issues that have been longer than 30 days, please email opds.ap.invoice.issues@opds.com. The address is on the screen and it's also on our website. Please do not copy individual staff members, because then you run the risk of it getting lost and not handled. We have received a question this week about whether we would really like folks to address, to use the email and send us questions. And if you're having issues longer than 30 days, and the answer is yes, please send us the emails. We'd love to hear from you, and we will address them. But again, please address us with a specific incident, a specific invoice, or something else. We're not going to answer questions about anonymous or when people say a group of folks have said. We'd like to talk in the factual stuff, and we're happy to deal with those things as well. Lastly, if you have questions about a particular CSS, please send that request to css@lpds.state.or.us. And once again, catching up to 30 days, 31 days is all done by the AP group, who has worked hard, and they're really a great group of people who should be celebrated. Thanks very much, Steve. You can take over.
All right. Well, thanks, Ralph. And I concur. I know that for the provider community, this is something that's really important to you all, to be able to get paid in an efficient and timely manner. If you do have issues, as Ralph said, let us know. We want to keep things where they are now at, in pretty good shape. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon Flowers and K.O. Berger from our trial division to talk about contract reporting.
Thanks, Steve. Actually, just getting me for right now. So we wanted to give you all a little bit of update. I'm sure people have some questions about what's happening with reporting under the new contracts that started July 1st. We're working through some changes to the reporting. Some of those are just focused on trying to streamline the reporting and make it easier both on your end and on our end at OPDS. And some of those relate to juvenile cases and 4E funding and enabling us to do what we need to do as far as our budget. So where we stand now, we're not ready for you all to start reporting in August, so none will be due in August. This applies for criminal contracts, juvenile, both PCRP and non-PCRP contracts. The reporting for this contract period is going to begin in September. So for your reports for July and August, those will be due on September 20th. Again, nothing due in August. We'll be getting out new reporting templates. Like I said, there's some changes that relate to some important things. And so those will come out, and I said one for criminal and one for juvenile. There will actually be 3 new templates, one for criminal, one for non-PCRP juvenile, and one for PCRP. So we'll be getting those out as soon as we can, available before the end of August, so that you all have plenty of time to make whatever changes you need to make on your end to be able to fulfill those reporting obligations. If you have you're interested in providing input or giving us feedback on reporting and the new templates, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to me directly. I've given you my email address and my cell phone number there. Let us know. We're looking for, a group of providers to give us some feedback in a really limited period of time. So not a full stakeholder engagement process that we might like to do with something like this, but we'll be doing more of that stuff down the road as we look at making adjustments to reporting past this contract cycle. With that, that's all I have on reporting. You can also feel free to reach out to me or to Lori Bender with questions about any of the reporting stuff. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate it. Now I'm going to turn it over to Autumn Shreve, our government relations person, to give the legislative update.
I'm muted. Unmuted. The last time that we talked, I think we had just come back from the 3rd work group meeting for the 3-branch public defense work group. So I spent some time talking about the work group and also talking about what happened at the emergency board that had happened in the months prior. We don't have anything really that's happened between last month and this month as far as an actual official legislative proceeding in any real way. Mostly there's just been various meetings with, basically legislative leadership. We've been talking with them about the 4-point plan that Steve's been referencing and is going to talk about next. So we've been trying to get feedback just on sort of individualized basis. Additionally, we've been having small group discussions have been scheduled out of the public defense 3-branch work group. So there's various entities are talking with the staff of that work group about basically what they want in 2023 proposals, as well as what they want long-term for a larger plan. So that's sort of the next kind of taking a summer break of the PD work group. If you recall, it was originally designed to last for 2 years, but just not during legislative session. And because a lot of the legislators are off at various conferences all over the place right now, they're doing this set of meetings instead. So we'll be meeting with the work group staff regarding both longer term plans as well as things that will happen in 2023 in early August. Also, just to note, I'm about to talk about some deadlines and some dates coming up. We've been told that the legislative work group is going to hold on to what they call placeholder bills. So the legislative deadline for putting in legislative concepts for just sort of regular folks is 9/23, so near the end of September. But if you're a legislator who's in charge of a committee or legislator has a certain number of priority bills, we can do placeholder bills. So there's going to be placeholder bills in place. So if you don't see legislative concepts coming forth before the end of September, never fear. They've told us that they are going to placehold to deal with whatever comes out in the short term of the legislative work group. Additionally, what I've been doing during this sort of little break is working with OCDLA, talking with OJD and DOJ. They've all got their various legislative priorities, and they include us on discussions of things that might overlap with the work that OPDS does. Of course, OCDLA partners closely with us and our appellate division to try to come up with concepts and to support those concepts. So I've been doing that kind of work as well. So the next work group meeting is going to be on August 25th. That's the 3-branch big work group meeting. Also, the next steps for the agency and what our presentations will be is that between 9/21 and September 23rd is going to be the 3 days of the legislative committee days. And there's various meetings of the emergency board during those days. So we'll probably present early on, and then the final decisions will come by the 23rd. That's basically where we're at right now with the legislature. It being summer, there's not a ton going on, but also there's a ton going on. So it kind of cuts both ways. I think that's what I got, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Autumn. Appreciate it. And so next on our agenda is a discussion, brief discussion at least, of the unrepresented client plan update. As you all probably know, that Chief Justice had sent out a letter on July 1st, and obviously the legislature, the judiciary, all branches of government are concerned about the issue of unrepresented clients, as are all of we all are. The plan has been shared with and should be generally public with the provider community. We shared it out with OCDLA and their Public Defense Task Force, ODCA and their board, the nonprofit public defender organization. We vetted it with the work group legislators, leadership, Ways and Means, the leadership in the legislature, Legislative Fiscal Office. The primary components of the plan are it's a four-part plan. The first thing that we're trying to do to have the most immediate effect is increase the hourly rates so that we can attract more lawyers, especially who are currently not providing any public defense services, because we simply need to increase capacity. The second part is to increase targeted increases in salaries. The third part is to fully fund supervision, training, and investigation where those services are provided, so that we're not taking money out of attorney salaries to have to divert it to these services, and more of the money can go to attorney salaries. And then the fourth part is the development of an OPDS quick response unit, basically a small trial division designed as a quick response unit within OPDS, although not necessarily in Salem, ideally geographically dispersed, that can get to hearings on a short notice, things like in-custody arraignments, shelter hearings, things that have very narrow time deadlines, where even with a high hourly rate, it's going to be very difficult to get an attorney from to a county that needs assistance with a case on these short time deadlines. And it can also provide some support by taking on cases that requires specialized knowledge or expertise, and can take especially complex cases off of local providers, where the local providers can hopefully handle the more routine, regular, large volume of cases, hopefully thereby freeing up capacity. In all of the feedback we've gotten since the plan has been vetted, there haven't been any completely new or different concepts, but most of the feedback we've gotten is expanding certain concepts, refining them, better targeting them to the need. One of the things I think everybody needs to recognize that we're trying to strike a balance here. All of these things, involving sort of increasing attorney capacity, they're all going to cost money. And so it's a matter of balancing the cost and trying to target the benefits to where it's most needed, where most of the unrepresented clients are. And most of the unrepresented clients currently, I would say 95% or more, are in Multnomah, Washington, Lane, Marion, Douglas, Jackson, and Coos. Those are where the largest numbers of unrepresented clients are currently. And so that is where most of the parts of the program are targeted in that way. Also, and so what's one of the things to know is this afternoon, there should be materials added to the Public Defense Services Commission and to the website that detail more, provide more details on aspects of the plan. Also, based on all the feedback and input we got, we made some adjustments to it, and we also provided, as the PDSC requested at their last meeting, some options within the plan so that there's a menu of choices that the PDSC can make. And obviously those choices have different costs and benefits, but at least we wanted to be able to provide both the PDSC and ultimately the legislature with choices on how they want to attack the problem so that we can implement it in a way that the policymakers would like us to do. But I would encourage you to look this afternoon on the website. It should be attached as part, get attached as part of the meeting materials for tomorrow this afternoon. It just went out within the past hour or so. And also, if you would like, attend tomorrow's PDSC meeting and sign up to comment, or even better, as the PDSC has indicated, provide written comments, because it really helps the PDSC to be able to review the comments in writing rather than get them orally and have to think about them or consider them on the fly. That's pretty much it in terms of what we've got on the agenda for today's call. I think it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a shorter call every so often. And I do want to open the floor up, though. I think there was one written question that was submitted, but it had to do with billing inquiries, and Mr. Amador addressed that already. So I don't think we have anything additional in writing to address. So if anyone wants to raise their electronic hand and make a comment or ask a question, we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, this is Rebecca Schalliger. I just realized that I had the ability to unmute myself. Boy, I wish I would.
Great. Hi, Rebecca. How you doing?
Wow. Anyway, I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank you. I just have hopefully a quick question. I hear that we're not going to have the CSV things that we have to do until September because you're changing the reporting data that you're gathering. And of course, the concern that I have regarding that is how much is that going to change? And the reason that I'm concerned is because when I report all of my open and current cases. And right now in Clackamas County, I have, I think, 1,200 open cases that I'm reporting on. And so if I'm hearing, oh, we're going to have the information to you by the end of August, and that way you'll have plenty of time to report in September. Well, if I have to add a bunch of stuff for 1,200 cases, that's not necessarily plenty of time. So I just want to know, like, how, I guess this is for Shannon, and I see Shannon popping up. Yay, hi. And I just want to know, like, what are we talking about when we're talking about making changes?
I'm just going to chime in real quickly and then let Shannon answer. But the general answer is we are going to make as few changes as possible right now, given these tight time deadlines, and then try and make this an iterative process over time, because as you know, we can't try and fix everything all at once. That's not going to make anything better for anybody. But with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon.
Thanks, Rebecca. I actually meant to address this whenever I spoke earlier and just give a little bit of insight into what we're looking at. On the juvenile side, I would say the non-PCRP juvenile, that's probably where you're going to see the most significant changes, because the old template didn't really account for juvenile cases. So we are trying to fix that and make it a more useful template for both you and for us. So what I would say you can do is I would look at the PCRP reporting template, because essentially we're working through what we need to do for PCRP, and then we'll adapt that for non-PCRP juvenile, because we don't need to entirely reinvent the wheel. We've got a pretty good wheel there already. So that's what I would do. And if you're looking at that, then what we're really looking at for juvenile is to just add some case types. That relates really to the 4E funding issues. So what's in the existing PCRP reporting template does not have all the different case types that we need. But if you use that, that will give you the framework, and then the changes from there should be relatively minor, I think.
Will it apply to all open cases, or will the new stuff apply to only going forward new appointment stuff?
From my understanding is we're going to have everybody reporting their open cases, and that would be starting from July, and basically starting from July, which you would submit then in September. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does, because I'm thinking, holy cow, I've got 1,200 open cases, but certainly not 1,200 in July. So, okay, all right, thank
Let's
you,
hope
Shannon.
not. All right, thank you, Rebecca.
North, Shannon, if there was, believe me.
Right. Yeah, that's a bit overloaded. I see another question. Another
So
hand
this is-
up.
Yeah, this is Karen Stennard. I just am following up on that. So typically right now, I thought we have been trying to capture all of our open cases, and is that going to change? I mean, we're submitting cases that are new appointments and ones that are ongoing. Is that anticipated to change? And are you talking about just doing the ones under the current contract, or do we know yet?
You would be reporting all of your open cases each month, is my understanding. I think that's the intent and the plan.
Okay, when you said starting in July, I didn't know if you were just looking at since this new contract period. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
See one more hand up. I'm not sure if it's an old hand or a new hand.
No, that's still Karen. But it doesn't look like there's anything new.
Okay. All right. Well, we got this one done in 30 minutes, which I think is every so often it's good to have a short meeting, especially since we have a full PDSC meeting tomorrow, which I'm sure most of you will want to attend. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the PDSC meeting. And thanks much for the questions and for being available, letting us communicate with all of you. Take care, everyone.